Welcome to Behind the Lens. If you love photography and want to explore the art, history, and technology behind the cameras, this is the place for you. On Behind the Lens, we break down the science, share fascinating stories, and dive into the techniques that make photography so powerful. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Let's uncover the magic behind the lens together. Have you ever taken what you thought was the perfect shot, only to zoom in and realize it's a little soft? Maybe your subject's eyes aren't as sharp as you expected, or that stunning landscape looks just a bit blurry. Don't worry, you're not alone. Getting tack-sharp photos is one of the biggest challenges in photography. But once you understand the causes of blur and how to fix them, your shots will instantly look more professional. One of the biggest reasons for a lack of sharpness is incorrect camera settings. The most important setting to check is your shutter speed. If you're shooting handheld, your shutter speed should be at least one focal length of your lens. For example, with a 50mm lens, you need a minimum of 1/50s to reduce motion blur. If you're photographing a moving subject like a person walking, you'll want to increase that to at least 1/500s or higher. Lower shutter speeds mean your camera captures more movement, which can introduce unwanted blur. ISO also affects sharpness, but indirectly. A higher ISO allows you to shoot at faster shutter speeds in low light, but it comes at a cost. High ISO values introduce noise, and noise reduces fine details, making your image look softer. Keeping ISO as low as possible while maintaining proper exposure is key. If you're outdoors in bright light, ISO 100 or 200 is ideal. Indoors, you might need to go higher, but always balance it with shutter speed to get the sharpest result. Aperture plays a crucial role in sharpness as well. While it's tempting to shoot at the widest aperture your lens allows, like f1.8 or f2.8, to get that beautiful blurred background, wide apertures often result in softer edges. Most lenses are sharpest when stopped down slightly, usually f4 to f8, but be careful not to go too high, like f16 or f22, as diffraction can reduce sharpness across the entire image. Autofocus settings are just as important. If you're shooting a still subject, use single-shot autofocus, AFS or one-shot AF for precision. For moving subjects, switch to continuous autofocus, AFC or AI servo, so your camera can track motion. If you're taking portraits, always focus on the eyes, because that's where sharpness matters most. If you're shooting landscapes, using manual focus with live view and zooming in to check focus can give even sharper results than autofocus. Beyond settings, technique makes a big difference. Camera shake is one of the most common causes of blurry images, and even the slightest movement can soften a shot. Holding your camera correctly helps. Keep your elbows tucked in, support the lens with your left hand, and press the shutter button gently instead of jabbing at it. A tripod is the best way to eliminate shake completely, especially in low-light situations or long exposure photography. If you don't have a tripod, bracing against a wall or steady surface can help. Even small movements when pressing the shutter button can reduce sharpness. Using a remote shutter release or setting a 2-second timer ensures there's no camera shake when taking the shot. If your camera or lens has image stabilization, it can help reduce blur when shooting handheld, but remember to turn it off when using a tripod. Stabilization can sometimes create unnecessary movement when the camera is completely still. Lenses also play a huge role in how sharp your images turn out. A high-quality lens makes a noticeable difference, even more than the camera itself. Prime lenses, like a 50mm f1.8, are often sharper than zoom lenses, especially at wider apertures. Cheap kit lenses tend to be softer at the edges, but stopping down to f8 can improve their sharpness. Keeping your lens clean is another small but important detail. Dust, fingerprints, or smudges can create a hazy effect, making your images appear less crisp. Lighting affects sharpness in ways many people don't realize. In low light, cameras struggle to focus accurately, which can result in missed focus and softer images. Adding extra light, whether it's a natural light source, a reflector, or even a flash, can improve contrast and make details pop. If you're shooting indoors, a simple desk lamp or a window can provide enough extra light to enhance clarity. Post-processing can help bring out sharpness in an image, but it's not a fix for poor technique. If If an image is blurry due to motion or focus issues, no amount of sharpening in Lightroom or Photoshop will fully restore it. However, if your photo is already fairly sharp, a little clarity, contrast, and sharpening adjustments can make it even better. The trick is to avoid over-sharpening, which can introduce artifacts and make the image look unnatural. Making your images sharper isn't about just one thing. It's a combination of good settings, solid technique, and the right gear. By controlling shutter speed, aperture, and ISO, using proper focus methods, stabilizing your camera, and making small refinements in post-processing, you'll see a huge improvement in the clarity of your photos. Once you get into the habit of checking these things, you won't have to worry about blurry